Welcome to another episode of Watching the World Burn while being told everything is perfectly fine.
Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club.
Have you checked the news today? Of course you have. You've been spoon-fed the exact same headline on every network, across every social media feed, and practically beamed directly into your cerebral cortex. Iran is the ultimate threat. The boogeyman is awake, the sirens are deafening, and the official narrative has been beautifully gift-wrapped for your daily consumption. But let's pause for a second. Step outside the matrix of cable news and look at the actual chessboard instead of the shiny object they are dangling in front of your face. What we are witnessing right now is a historic, almost poetic breaking point. Under the absolute impenetrable shield of protecting its own security and defending regional interests, Israel is currently performing a geopolitical masterclass. And what exactly is the grand prize? Dragging the United States, the supposed undisputed heavyweight champion of the free world, directly by the collar into a catastrophic, full-scale military conflict with Iran. It is a fascinating dynamic, isn't it? The tail isn't just wagging the dog anymore. The tail has strapped a rocket booster to the dog and is steering it straight toward a cliff. And the American public?
Oh, it's always about you.
We are expected to simply nod along, wave our flags, and blindly foot the bill for a crisis that is being actively and deliberately escalated. We are told this is about survival. We are told this is a defensive. Peel back the thick, suffocating layer of media-manufactured panic, you realize very quickly that this has absolutely nothing to do with the moral high ground. It never does.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and...
While the cameras are aggressively pointed at Tehran, painting it as the sole supervillain in this geopolitical blockbuster, the part they desperately want you to ignore is how the world's major powers are using this exact crisis to ruthlessly advance their own agendas. This isn't an accidental escalation or a tragic misunderstanding. This is a deliberately engineered, highly calculated path that is rapidly laying the concrete groundwork for a third world war. And the most terrifying part? They are selling it to you as a necessary step for global peace.
And let us all pray for a future of peace, unity, and safety for all of our people. Thank you. And for Cuba.
Let's take a little world tour of hypocrisy, shall we? Because the international reaction to this manufactured powder keg is where the dark comedy truly writes itself. You have states rushing to the microphones, clutching their pearls, and giving passionate, tear-jerking speeches about the sanctity of human life and the absolute necessity of de-escalation. It's a beautiful performance, truly Oscar-worthy.
I'm being called on in my life to love people.
Take Russia, for example. Please try not to laugh out loud.
Oh, hello.
You have the Kremlin standing at the podium in the international arena, wearing a perfectly straight face, deeply condemning the escalation of war in the Middle East. Yes, the very same Russia that just spent the last few years turning Ukrainian cities into rubble and treating Syria like a live fire testing range for its air force. Suddenly, they are the seasoned diplomats of peace. It's like watching an arsonist enthusiastically hand out fire safety pamphlets while still holding a dripping gas can. But in the modern world of global politics, self-awareness is a liability, and shamelessness is an absolute superpower. And it's not just Moscow. Oh no. The hypocrisy is a beautifully synchronized global dance. Look at the other major players, the so-called civilized global actors. They stand in front of the United Nations logo, adjusting their silk ties, pleading for a ceasefire, and urging restraint. They release very sternly worded press statements that mean absolutely nothing. But what happens when the cameras turn off? Behind closed doors, the calculators come out. While they publicly weep for the concept of peace, privately, they are salivating over their strategic gains. The arms industry executives are practically doing backflips because a Middle Eastern escalation is the ultimate quarterly earnings boost. The exact same governments calling for diplomatic solutions are simultaneously approving expedited weapons shipments, locking down lucrative defense contracts, and ruthlessly calculating how to expand their regional influence in the ensuing chaos. They don't want the fire to go out. They just want to make sure they own the monopoly on selling the fire extinguishers.
So it begins.
This is the core, underlying truth of modern society that no one on the evening news wants to say out loud. Wars are no longer fought for morals, or democracy, or liberation. Those are just the glossy marketing slogans printed on the packaging to make the product digestible for the masses. Wars are legitimized by those in power to sustain an economic and geopolitical machine that feeds entirely on human blood and middle-class taxpayer money. And the media? The media is just the unpaid PR department for this military-industrial complex. Their only job is to convince you that the foreign monster under the bed is real, so you are too paralyzed by fear to notice the domestic burglars completely emptying your house. Let's talk about you for a second. The average everyday American. You wake up, brew your overpriced coffee, scroll through your phone, and what do you see? A highly curated algorithmic barrage of existential dread. They tell you that if we don't immediately park another multi-billion-dollar aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf, the world as we know it will end. The security rhetoric is dialed up to a deafening 11. Words like national security, preemptive defense, and protecting the free world are thrown around like confetti. It's a beautifully constructed linguistic cage, designed specifically to keep you from asking the most dangerous question of all. Whose security are we actually paying for? And at what cost? Because while the politicians are playing a high-stakes game of risk with real human lives in the Middle East, what happens to the ordinary people? You are the ones being systematically crushed under the weight of this massive geopolitical reckoning. It's your tax dollars funding state-of-the-art missile interceptors thousands of miles away, while your own city's infrastructure looks like it barely survived a meteor strike. It's the American working class whose sons and daughters will eventually be asked to lace up their combat boots to fight an enemy they've never met, all to secure a regional interest that will never, ever benefit them. The ruling class gets the geopolitical leverage, the defense contracts, and the strategic footholds. You get inflation, a folded flag, and a commemorative tweet on Memorial Day.
Why are we fighting the war, Janovic? It seems that the Germans are bad. Very bad. You don't say. The Germans are bad, huh? Hey, Frank, this guy's reading an article over here that says the Germans...
This is where the harsh, deeply uncomfortable contradiction truly lies. The state absolutely loves to preach from the moral high ground. Our leaders stand at the podium and frame these conflicts as democracy versus tyranny, good versus evil, as if global politics is a low-budget superhero movie and we are the undisputed good guys. But strip away the soaring rhetoric and look at the actual cold, calculated interests. There is no morality in geopolitics. There is only leverage and survival.